Good day, everyone. So, willfully, you've been enjoying some of these little extra tidbits we've been sharing. Before I continue, I want to just ask everyone who's listening to make sure you subscribe to this channel, like the video, and share it if you find it has any provocative content that someone else you may know could utilize. All right. So this is a newer channel that as many of you know who've been following the Anu Works, I have a lot of channels, but this is a newer channel that I'm using for redundancy. All right, so I need to get my subscribes and views and stuff up, so that way I can put a custom URL on it. All right, so I wanted to touch briefly on the idea of being a teacher or a jegna. And the reason being is a lot of times I find myself being questioned as to how I feel about the loyalty or disloyalty, quote unquote, of different people who I may teach or bring along or introduce to certain ways of being and certain ways of knowing, who then maybe leave and go and do their own thing. And a lot of times maybe don't necessarily credit me for what I may have done for them. And this is not a question I ever have of myself, but a lot of times people who are around me or other students, maybe they sometimes get a little upset about it, or they ask me, like, how do you deal with that? I get that question often. How do you deal with working with people and teaching people, and then they just turn around and, kind of just give you their behind to kiss, proverbially? And sometimes the answer varies depending on the context of, who the person may be referencing or whatever. But I'm gonna give a general answer about it. I was thinking about it recently, and I'm gonna explain, because everyone's always like, you never get upset, you never say anything, you don't talk about it, even when they're on YouTube and like they're blatantly regurgitating your information, this and that, and you don't call them out or whatever. So I guess sometimes individuals have found themselves asking me, maybe they've dealt with similar and just want to know some of the techniques or whatever. So I'm gonna tell you what it is, what my mind state is that causes me not to really sweat that too tough. First, my calling is to teach, okay, period. So that doesn't mean as a teacher that I am beholden to the perpetual progress or the perpetual journey of anyone that I am honored enough to have to be in their presence, and for them to be in my presence, and for us to create a contract of student teacher. They are supposed to get whatever they're supposed to get from me on my program, and then continue on their journey and do whatever they're supposed to do with it. Even if they're still in my physical proximity, they're still on their journey. All right, so that's number one. As a teacher, and especially doing the work that I do, I'm also often referred to as a father, or a father type in different languages, but a father, and I take that call and that charge very seriously. So essentially, as a parent, because I'm also a biological parent, literally, as well as a spiritual parent to many different people, and essentially as a parent, your job is not to cripple or enable your children so that they spend their entire lives under you. Your job is to enable them so that they can grow their own wings and they can fly the coop or the nest, proverbially, and go off into the world and explore and learn and satisfy their curiosity and do the things that they're here to do. So your primary responsibility as a parent is to acclimate them to the world and acclimate them to the different things that they're going to need in order to fulfill that purpose, based on maybe what they may share with you, or based on what you may observe, or may be told by a shaman or a guru or a diviner. Your job is just really to prepare them. So it would really be a sign of a poor parent or of poor parenting if you saw a child who perpetually stayed underneath their parent and didn't have the wherewithal or the courage to go out and become a parent themselves, or to go out and explore themselves, or to go out and to, take on the world and leave whatever mark it is they may have in their mind themselves. So in the time period that I've been doing this kind of work, which has been a pretty long time, I've had so many people come and go, and sometimes even the people who leave, they don't understand that mentality. They don't understand that science. So they may feel guilty about leaving, or they may say, okay, and they, people don't always leave for the right reasons. So I don't want to make it seem like it's always honorable. Sometimes people leave, most of the time, actually. Let me say 85% of the time, people leave because they're faced with the truth that they don't want to deal with. Often people use spirituality or spiritual teachers as a form of escapism, because it's like we're supposed to be the gurus on a mountaintop who don't live in the cities and don't really know anything about your actual character, your history. So you come to us fresh and brand new, and we're supposed to be completely gullible. And when that's not the case, then a lot of times people will jet to the left or jet to the right in search of someone else who they can recreate themselves in front of. You may have been the most barbaric individual where you came from, and then you come in front of the babala or in front of the priest or the priestess, and you have all of this fabricated and contrived grace and decorum, but that's not really you. And when you have a priest who can call it out and say, wait a minute, we got some issues here we have to deal with, there's a history here, and the person may say, well, I didn't reveal that history to you, because they don't know that, yes, you did, or I have the ability to see it. You're not talking to, your average Joe Schmo, if you will. That's usually what will make people run, because they feel exposed, right? So you have that kind too. So it's different, and even then, there's no reason to make a big fuss about it. If they come in and they can't stand it, and they have to go, then that's fine. They have to go. But then you also have those who come in, they get what they were supposed to get, and it's time for them to go. Or maybe they came to learn something about you. There's different reasons why people come into our lives and leave our lives. Sometimes it's to teach us something about ourselves, and sometimes it's to teach us something about them. And they may come around you and come among you and realize, okay, this is a personality that maybe I don't want to be around, or maybe this life that I'm observing that this person is living that I thought I wanted to live, maybe I don't want to live that life. There's so many different reasons. Or maybe I just came to get this, I'm ready to go on and keep getting. And as a teacher, you may say, but wait a minute, there's more that you should be getting. You're not getting the full picture. But it's not up to you as a teacher to determine what someone's trajectory or someone's course or path is supposed to be. That's not what you're there for. You represent a program. Someone goes through your program, and I'm not even saying if you have a formal program, but you yourself are the program. Someone goes through your program, they learn what they need to learn from you. It may just be a couple of words they needed to learn to define, or it could be a way of thinking. It could be so many different things, but they learn those things from you, and then they go on to continue what they're supposed to do. And as a teaching parent, you should be proud. I'm proud when I see people, even when they're quote unquote stealing my information, because the truth is, whatever I'm teaching has been given to me. It's been channeled from a place that has very little to do with me as a human. So you're not really robbing from me. In the same instance, I'm not robbing and stealing from the universe when inspiration is given to me, and I share that inspiration and I transfer that excitement and that emotion and that information to another individual. Now I may be stepped down because I may be getting it from Akasha or from the ethers, and you're getting it from my own tone, but nonetheless I recognize the source. So when I'm praised, I praise the heavens. You see, that's the line of praise. When someone says, thank you so much, Chief Yuya, and I'll say, give thanks. Give thanks to the Most High, give thanks to the ethers, give thanks to the ancestors for sharing that with me to be able to give it to you. You see, so how could I be attached to the idea of where you're supposed to go next, when sometimes when I'm working with someone, I don't even know what's going to come into my head next. based on how the channeling is happening. So that's the reason I really don't make a big stink about it, because everyone who gets up and picks up and leaves and says, okay, I got what I needed, now I feel strong enough and brave enough to do my own thing, I'm proud of them. I don't want any child, underneath me, biological or other, for the rest of their lives. I want to get them nice and strong so they can go out and do what it is that they're supposed to do. All right. So just a thought, an idea that was crossing through, and, I wanted to share that with everyone, and that's especially for you students out there. When it's time to leave, you don't have to be passive aggressive about it. You don't have to try to make your teacher a villain, make up and fabricate scenarios. You don't know, and don't be cowardly about it. A lot of students sometimes are cowardly. They'll just, like, I've had students just block their number, block email addresses, and block my phone number. But nothing happened. Like, there was no conflict, there was nothing. Everything was cool, but it was time for them to move on, of time for them to do something else. But they just didn't have the courage in their heart to say, hey, it's time for me to go. Maybe they may have had a bad experience with that in the past, I don't know. But I'm not that type of teacher. I don't want anybody around me for that long. Anyone who knows me knows that anyway. But yeah, have enough love and compassion and respect to either get on the phone, or get in your teacher's face, say, hey, can we go for a walk, and explain what it is that you're doing, and understand that teacher's a real teacher. They're going to be happy. All right, cool. We can still be friends, or maybe we can be friends now going forward, because the teacher-student relationship is not a peer-to-peer friend relationship, but maybe we can be that now, or we can be something else. Or if you just need me, I'm here for you. If you get stuck on your journey and you need some counsel, I'm here for you. But to create any type of program, and we could call it a cult, religion or anything, where you're expecting your members to sign up for lifetime inclusion, is pretty sick. Even if you create children, there comes a time period where, they just don't have that much time for you anymore. They're out in the world, and maybe working jobs, and maybe trying to buy a house or get real estate investments or whatever, going out learning and loving and, failing. And no, they're not going to call you every day. They're not going to, they might not even call you, every 7 days. You might hear from your child once a month, because they're out there doing things. Just be proud. They don't have to keep coming back and glorifying you. They don't have to come back and coddle you, as you should not be coddling them. And that's for any student, that's for any child, So for all those that came from under me and have gone out now to create careers for themselves in the world of healing, in the world of like what I call the happiness business, the happiness business, making people's lives happier and freer and more solid and more grounded. Great. That's what we were aiming for in the beginning, and that's all I wanted. Come and get what you got to get, and then go on out the door. All right. So I just wanted to share that. This is Chief Yuya signing out, and I'll speak to you all soon. Remember, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the like button, comment underneath, and definitely share it. All right.